Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamunadira Vanachari Yamunadira Vanachari All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadho Jayamudirayd Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Kam Karoti Vachalam Bandham Lankayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Ramanandamathvam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauramani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion of the Bhagavad Gita here at the Sri Radha Gopal Krishna Mandir in Bangladesh on today, the 2nd of October 2022. So we welcome everyone who have joined us here and online. Thank you. And we are continuing a discussion with chapter 4. Yesterday we were seeing what Krishna is speaking in the first 3 chapters, and today we are continuing from chapter 4. Chapter 4 is entitled Transcendental Knowledge. Chapter 3 was Karma Yoga. Chapter 4 is Transcendental Knowledge. And Transcendental Knowledge means what? It means spiritual knowledge about the soul, about God, and the relation between these two. This is basically, in a nutshell, transcendental knowledge. And how does that knowledge come? That knowledge is actually the fruit of selfless devotional action. Karma yoga. Nishkama karma yoga. Because we saw in chapter 3, Krishna is speaking about karma yoga. And then towards the end of chapter 3, Krishna speaks about the biggest enemy of the living entity. End of chapter 3, Krishna speaks about biggest enemy of the living entity being Kama, and where Kama is situated, and how Kama is the biggest enemy, and how Arjuna, you must conquer Kama, lust. And how lust will make us ignorant and how it will bind us here. And then Krishna says that Nishkama karma is the means to attain transcendental knowledge. That also Krishna indicates at the end of chapter 3. Now, in chapter 4, Krishna is going to describe how this transcendental knowledge is received. And in order to explain that to Arjuna, first he speaks about where this whole thing began. So that is how chapter 4 begins. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan avyayam vivaswan manave praha manurikshwakave abravit. And then he says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajashrayo vidugu sakalane hamahata yogo nashtaparantapa. So he says that this is a timeless knowledge. It came through the disciplic succession, and over time it became lost. And now I am here to revive that knowledge, and I am telling to you, why is Krishna speaking this to Arjuna? So Krishna says that is because Bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hetaduttamam. So he speaks about how the transcendental knowledge is coming, and who is eligible to receive this transcendental knowledge. Who is eligible? He is speaking to Arjuna. What is the qualification of Arjuna? Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. You are my bhakta and you are my sakha. So that's what we were, in the introduction also we were saying. What is the secret of understanding Bhagavad Gita? What is the secret of understanding the topmost knowledge? Is these two things. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. I'm not saying this, Krishna is saying this. That because you are my devotee and because you are my sakha, because you are friendly to me. So again, we must understand being friendly with Krishna is to our advantage. Being devoted to Krishna is for our advantage. Now you may think, okay, what is this so great about it? Bhagavad Gita is available to everyone. Bhagavad Gita as it is available. We are distributing Bhagavad Gita as it is in millions of copies around the world. There are also other Bhagavad Gitas. We don't go into the right or wrong about which is the right Bhagavad Gita, which we know as it is the right Bhagavad Gita. There can be another Bhagavad Gita, but the shlokas are the same. The explanation, let it be whatever anybody's mental speculation, we are not getting. But the Bhagavad Gita, the shloka, the original instruction is available equally to everybody. Then why Krishna is telling that Bhaktosi me sakha cheti? Right? Because something may be available as information, but for that to become knowledge for you to grasp is something different. Correct? You have your chemistry textbook, your physics textbook, your mathematics textbook available to everyone, but you need a teacher. Correct? And you have to grasp it properly from the teacher, how it is, how a solution is arrived at step by step by step. And then you are able to, teacher will give you another one, then you will be able to solve it. So, disciplic succession means this. It is coming from the guru to the shishya, then the shishya becomes guru in turn, he will give it to his shishya. So, this is how this transcendental knowledge is coming. So, then Arjuna asks, but you are saying Vivaswan. Vivaswan is, I know that Vivaswan is much elder to you. Because you and I, we are contemporaries. Vivaswan, you are speaking about somebody who is, in a previous yuga. So then Krishna says that, again he will present himself as the supreme and Arjuna what you are. He says, both of us, we have been through this. You don't remember, I remember everything. So this is the difference between Bhagavan and the living entity is that Bhagavan remembers everything. Living entity can remember only what he has got in this particular lifetime, even that fully we cannot. Even that fully we cannot. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, is giving the indication that you and I are different, although we may look like this. And then he continues to describe transcendental knowledge by explaining his birth and his form. He is beginning to explain what is transcendental knowledge. He says, no, Shishyasteham Sathimam Tvam Prapannam is accepting that I have become your disciple. Okay? But that is from Arjuna's point of view, he is saying that I have now surrendered as a disciple to you. Krishna is saying, because you are my bhakta and my sakha, I am giving you the knowledge. So how we understand it is that without being his bhakta and sakha, he will not accept, he will not become Shishya. I am your disciple, but without having a relationship, you will not surrender to a guru. Understand? So, that relationship, Krishna is highlighting that because you are my friend and because you are very dear to me. Why? Because you are devoted to me. Understood? So, then Krishna says that I am actually unborn. But then it seems like I appear, and that too I appear, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. I appear by my own sweet will. So this is the difference between Krishna appearing and we taking birth in this material. Krishna is not forced by anybody. We are forced by our karmic reactions to accept different bodies. In that, we don't have a choice actually. We are given a particular type of body, simply we enter into that body. Whereas Krishna says, I appear sambhavami atma mayaya, I appear by my will. So whenever Krishna appears, don't think that he is taking birth. Although we will say that he took birth as Yashoda's son, he took birth as Vamana, as Aditi's son. No, he doesn't take birth like that. Rather, he appears. He appears because of his causeless mercy. He appears. And then he says, why I appear? First he says, I am unborn, but I appear by my own will. And even when I appear, I am transcendental. This is all the content of transcendental knowledge, because that's our chapter. Divya Gyan. Knowledge that is beyond these three modes of material nature, that is what is called transcendental knowledge. So that is the subject matter. So what is the transcendental knowledge? One, Ajopi Sarnavya Atma. I am unborn, but I appear. Next, after that, Krishna says, why I appear? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bhavarata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatma. I appear whenever there is dharmasya glani. Whenever there is dharmasya glani, I appear. So when dharma declines, I am appearing. Again, we must understand, we should put this in context of Sambhavam Yatmamaya. Because we may say that now there is glani to dharma, why he isn't appearing? He said no, yada yada hi dharmasya. But the proper way to understand is that he decides what is glani to dharma. Because he is the ultimately independent Supreme Lord, he will decide what is glani to dharma, and he will decide when, how, where to. So yada yada hi dharmasya also does not mean that he is forced. No. That also he will act as per his will only. And then when I come, what do? The Lord appears, what he does. This transcendental knowledge step by step. What he does. Paritranaya sadhuna, vinashaya dushkrita, dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yogi. Again, put it back into perspective of sambhavami atmamaya. You should always link like that instead. Why? Because I appear by my sweet will, and when I appear, it is mostly when there is glani to dharma. And when I appear, I will take care of the sadhus, I will finish off all the dushkritis, I will again re-establish dharma. From this, get another understanding that we derive is that it is not necessary that Lord will appear only when there is glani to dharma. No, he can appear otherwise also. Simply to please his devotee, he can appear. Okay. And not that he himself has to appear every time to kill all the dushkritis. He can send somebody else. Even to establish dharma, not necessary that he should come himself. He can send an empowered representative and get it done also. But because he likes, that is why Acharya say the more important reason for Krishna to appear is Paritranaya Sadhuna. He wants to show the world that I will take care of the sadhus. He wants to show the world, yes, see, this is me, I will take care. Dushkriti, as we say, he can send anybody and finish up any dushkriti. He does not interfere. But to show mercy to the devotee, to have interaction with devotee, to play out leelas with the devotees, he needs to come. That only he can do. But because devotee will be pleased only then. To play as the son of Yashoda, he has to appear himself. He cannot send somebody. Correct? To joke around as a friend of Arjuna, he has to come. He cannot send somebody else. Arjuna will not get the same. Or to play as the Gopa Sakha of all the other Gopas in Vrindavan, he only has to come. He cannot send somebody. But for other things, he can send. For the killing business, he can send. He uses Mahamaya. He uses his other empowered representatives. He can do. But for Paritranaya Sadhanam, that means interacting with his devotees, Krishna comes. That is also part of transcendental knowledge. And then Krishna says that if you realize this transcendental knowledge, what happens? You will become liberated and will not come again back to this material. So, process, transcendental knowledge, result of transcendental knowledge. So, by gaining this transcendental knowledge, you will become freed from attachment, fear, anger. These three things are actually what is putting us stuck in this material world. Attachment, fear, anger. All these three things we have. And you will find that these three things are very intimately connected to one another. Because we have attachment, so we are afraid that whatever we are attached to, we will lose it. And I am attached to something, I am not able to get it, so I get angry. Attachment, fear, anger. Looks like three-pronged, three different things. Actually, it is all so intimately interconnected. And Krishna says, this transcendental knowledge, what transcendental knowledge? Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvaha. That this is my janma, my karma, whatever I am doing, this is all transcendental. This is all divyam. This is not normal. This is not normal. This is not this business of this world. This is transcendental. So that is transcendental knowledge. Knowledge that transcends this material platform. So when you say transcendental knowledge, you don't have to think it is something greatly complicated. No. If we understand these things, that Krishna appears by his will. Krishna is not ordinary. Krishna does what he wants to do. You know, this is how he does. If you understand this, that's enough. But the point is, in the beginning itself, Krishna says, who will understand it? As I told, this is available to everyone, but then why are we not understanding? Another point. These are all very subtle things in the Bhagavad Gita. As we move more and more into the Bhagavad Gita, you will understand how Krishna is presenting this so beautifully. No? And this transcendental knowledge can be attained through this Nishkama Karma Yoga. You know, Nishkama Karma Yoga at its topmost level where one does everything for Krishna. Where one does everything for Krishna. Beginning, yesterday we discussed beginning, we will do everything for ourselves. The next stage is that we do everything, but we don't expect result. Third is that we do everything for Krishna. So by doing everything for Krishna, that level of Nishkama Karma, you will actually come to this platform of transcendental knowledge. Why? Because you are linking yourself with Krishna, then automatically you will come to know about Krishna. When we link ourselves with Krishna through giving up or rather surrendering or very lovingly offering, let us say, that is the best way to put it. Very lovingly, when I am offering everything that I am doing to Krishna, then I am establishing that relationship which becomes stronger and stronger as I do more and more. So Krishna says that transcendental knowledge will liberate you. Then it also so happens that not everyone will do that. Not everyone will do it. Krishna says about that also. He says, not everyone will do. Some people, they want some benefit in this world. We are in that category of some people. Don't misunderstand. So they will worship the demigods. They will worship the Upadevatas. So that they will get some result. So then Krishna says, therefore, greedy people wanting some benefits will worship the Devatas. And they because of that worship to the Devatas, they will get some quick result also. Two things. Devatas quick result, Krishna means slow result. Why? Because what Krishna is giving is something that nobody can give you. Second thing is that what Krishna gives is the ultimate gift, the rarest, the most valuable, invaluable. So automatically it will take time. Also, it will test your determination. So these are things that when you work for Krishna, this is how things work. And then Krishna says, in order to establish this in a very systematic manner, I have established the four varnas. That also is discussed in this chapter. And Krishna says, four varnas I have only established, and I have got nothing to do with it. But Srila Prabhupada says that this Chaturvarnyam system is created by Krishna so that everybody can gradually come to the point of pure spiritual life of Krishna. So the Varnashram system, which is in Kali Yuga, which is now completely disrupted, but originally the system is designed by Krishna so that gradually everybody can become perfect their conditioning and come to the level of understanding Brahman, and beyond that become a devotee of Krishna. So the Varnashram system also is established by Krishna, and there also this understanding of the truth is there for everyone, which is possible, made possible for everyone through this system. So whether one is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, everybody has got a path traversing which he can come to the stage of perfection. So Krishna says, I have laid down that also. And then he says that I also do this work so that people will get the correct understanding, but you should know that none of these things affects me. Why? Because everything belongs to Krishna and he is not attached to any of these things. That is why we say, no, Krishna is the ultimate renounced personality. That is why the gopis, they were telling, no, that you say that Krishna is the most perfect brahmachari and then you can cross the Yamuna. And he's asking how it is possible. He is the most playful boy, playing with all the girls, teasing all the girls. How do you say he's a perfect brahmachari? That's what he is. That's the ultimate truth. He's not attached to anything. So Krishna is telling that there is no work that affects me and I do not aspire for any fruit of action. And Krishna says that those intelligent people who have gotten this knowledge, they are all getting liberated. So, not only understanding about the appearance of Krishna, also Janma Karma Chame Divya. Krishna says. Karma, that means whatever Krishna does is also transcendental, that is never affecting Krishna, that also is. And then Krishna goes on to explain how this transcendental knowledge should be received. How this transcendental knowledge should be received. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya patekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. So somebody who has seen the truth only can give you the truth. So that is why such a Tattvadarshi Guru should be approached. Tattvadarshi means one who has seen the truth. And he says to you, to that Guru, to that personality, one should do Pranipatena and Pariprasnena and Sevaya. So, three things about accepting Guru also Krishna speaks in the fourth chapter, which is surrender, approach with a surrender attitude. Pranipatena means that. Then Pariprasnena means humbly asking questions. Pariprasnena. So Srila Prabhupada explains that in our entire Sanatana Dharma system, blind following is not recommended anywhere. Whereas today they are making us into some kind of blind followers. They say you people have all blind faith. Actually, our system is such that there is no question of blindly following anybody. That is why it is a pariprasnena. You must ask questions. You must ask the doubt. And how will you realize the answers that you get? By sevaya. By doing service to the Guru only, you will understand the answer. So this is the difference between gaining ordinary knowledge and gaining Divya Gyan or transcendental knowledge. That transcendental knowledge we will be able to absorb only through the medium of service. That is why Srila Prabhupada always says that this is not some armchair philosophy. That you sit in one chair, I sit in one chair, we sit across each other and discuss the Bhagavad Gita, and we become two big pandits, but nothing will change in life. Why? Because there is no sevaya. So these three things together is very important for passing on the transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is available. We are talking about the process. Okay. Earlier we spoke about eligibility. Before that we spoke about the process, how it is. Now the detail of the process is these 3 points. That pranipatena, pariprasnena, sevaya. So these 3 things together will ensure that transcendental knowledge get passed. So if we are not understanding what we should do, we should very humbly inquire to the preceptor, yes, I have this doubt. It's not, Prabhupada also says that challenges are not recommended. Don't question your guru to test his knowledge. Somebody is teaching you, don't do it in a challenging way that let me see whether you can answer this or not. Not in that way. Because I have a genuine doubt, I want to clear it. So that way, when somebody is approaching the guru, then he will get the knowledge. So in all these things, you asked about Sishyasteham Sadhamam Tvam Praman. So that Sishyasteham means what? My dear sir, I do not know. Why am I coming to you? Because I do not know and you are Tattvadarshi, you have seen the truth. So please also give me the understanding of what is the truth. This is the process. So this is the actual authorized process of getting knowledge. Not like in the modern days, we see that, especially in material education, we throw some money and they are obliged to pass on the knowledge. Correct? We pay money and we buy the knowledge, and then we make money out of that knowledge. That's what we do actually. Is it not? So there is a very big difference between this material knowledge and spiritual knowledge. Material knowledge is completely money-based transactional thing. It's only a transaction. But spiritual master guru means you should worship him as the representative of the Supreme Lord. Whatever you may give in return, whatever dakshina, guru dakshina we may give, it will never be equal to what knowledge we are getting. Because that knowledge is priceless. Because he is showing you the way back to Godhead. What payment you can give? Whatever we give will not be enough. That is why every day we pay obeisances to the spiritual master, to the Guru. That's the only thing we can do. By paying obeisance, I am saying, I am surrendering myself, I am surrendering myself, I am surrendering myself. That is the only way you can return. Although you also give something as a token of our love. So is there a transaction between Guru and disciple? Yes, there is. Like we see when Krishna was in Sandipani Muni's ashram, after he finished his education, he asked his Guru, "What do you want?" Then Sandipani Muni, he knows who is Krishna, so he tells, "My dead son, please bring him back. No other Dakshina I want." Krishna is very big. He is the prince of Mathura. You know, Ugrasena can give so much gold and so much Dakshina he can give, but Sandipani was very smart. He said, bring back my dead son." Right? So like that. So this is the Guru Shishya relationship process of, because if you want to understand absolute truth, this is the, you cannot be like Ravana who threatened Narada Muni that you become a guru or not. He took out the Chandrahasa and he said, "I am looking for a guru." So Narada Muni said, "So what do you mean?" He said, "I know that you are guru of Dhruva, Prahlad, so you are a great guru. Why don't you become my guru?" This is holding Chandrahasa in one hand and he is asking Narada Muni, "What?" So Narada Muni said, "You are barking up the wrong tree. I am not the guy." You know. So you can't accept Guru like that also. And you cannot accept Guru as a fashion because everybody has got a Guru, let me observe. None of these things will work. So we should have that with humility. That is what Pranipatya. With humility, with a genuine interest to understand the absolute truth, we must approach the Guru. And then, by doing service to him, that means to please the Guru. So we may think pleasing Guru means, we read, especially in Purana, that you have to go and collect wood from the forest, all those things, and help the Guru's wife cook. That is a Gurukula system, and that you have to do all those things. In the wider understanding of Guru Shishya relationship, the Guru becomes pleased when the disciple is executing his instructions. That's it. Not that you have to go and clean the Guru's room every day and then you wash the bathroom. Those are also things that need to be done. But then the wider understanding is that the Guru will engage you in the service of the Supreme Lord. That is his duty as Guru. And you, the disciple, would simply engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. That pleases Guru. By this service, you are also serving Guru. Because the Sadguru, the original, the real Guru who is in the Parampara, will always tell you, serve Krishna. No Guru will ever tell you, serve me. No. This is serve Krishna. So disciple serves Krishna. Through serving Krishna, he is serving Guru. That is what is pleasing to the Guru. And automatically, when Guru is pleased, transcendental knowledge will automatically be revealed. It cannot be that I read the book and I will get it. It doesn't work like that. Especially transcendental things doesn't work like that. You may have a lot of bookish knowledge, but what realization you get is based on how sincere you are in approaching the Guru and serving him and inquiring him from him and understanding. So that is, Krishna says, by doing that you will attain. And Krishna says, therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. Again, he is linking this transcendental knowledge with yoga. How initially we said, the beginning of, in the introduction to transcendental yoga, what we see is that what is transcendental knowledge? Knowledge about the spirit soul, Atma Jnana. Knowledge about the Supreme Lord, Parama Atma. And yoga means what? The connection between these two. This is transcendental knowledge all about. So transcendental knowledge also is yoga. That's why this chapter is also called Jnana Yoga. So knowing this, that the relationship exists, will help us establish that relationship. No? Without knowing, how will you establish? So transcendental knowledge. And what does again Krishna tell him? You have to take out your ignorance using knowledge, and armed with this knowledge, what is telling Arjuna? Fight. Why? Because Arjuna will think, okay, now I have to get knowledge, no need to fight. Correct? Why? Here we must again understand wherever Krishna is asking Arjuna to fight, it means do your duty. Because Arjuna's duty is to fight. So we must have the understanding very correctly, because previously I've had people telling me that, your entire Bhagavad Gita that you are professing as the topmost knowledge is all about a man who did not want to fight, and there is a God who made him fight. What sort of a violent God you have? Hmm? The man was coolly telling, I don't want to fight, I'll go to forest and do tapas. Your God made him fight. At the end of Bhagavad Gita, what did he say? Karishe vachanam tava. In the beginning, what he said, oh Krishna, I don't want to fight. In the end, he said, I will do whatever you want me to do. Correct? But we must understand that here fighting is all about duty, kartavya. It is all about duty. So again, Krishna is telling Arjuna, armed with this transcendental knowledge, which is yoga, do your duty. So Bhagavad Gita again, please understand, it's all about duty. It's not anything about giving up something. Spiritual life does not mean that you run away from responsibility. Spiritual life does not mean that you have to go and go to the Himalayas, find a lonely cave and sit inside. It's not only about all those things. It's about understanding this and doing your duty. As we move on to the 5th chapter, which is Karma Sannyasa Yoga, it is again Krishna is speaking about. Prabhupada is entitled that chapter as Action in Krishna Consciousness. Because again, Arjuna will ask, whether renouncing work is good or working with detachment is good. Because Krishna told, no, knowledge. So knowledge means what? With knowledge you should renounce. When I become knowledgeable, I should give up, That's the whole idea of knowledge. Means it should bring. Jnana means vairagya, it should bring. Right? Jnana should bring vairagya or not? I am not this body, that means I should become renounced. I should become detached. So again, because Arjuna is still hopeful of getting that answer. What? Oh Arjuna, you don't have to write. This is the answer he is waiting for. So every time he is going on asking question very smartly, this is how we are also, with the spiritual mastery. We'll keep on asking the same doubt. So many sannyasis will visit. I have seen devotees asking the same question, hoping that somebody or the other will give an answer that I want to hear. Something that will make me happy. Please don't think like that, because the answer that makes me most unhappy is the one that I require the most. You understand? Why? Because I become unhappy means I have been asked to change my status quo. I am becoming unhappy because somebody is telling me that I am not this body. I am becoming unhappy because somebody is pointing out that actually you are living a nonsense life. I am becoming unhappy because somebody is telling me that you are born a human being, but you're living like a bloody donkey. When I get these answers, I become very, very unhappy. No, I am not a donkey. I have a qualification that is about 24 letters. I'm not joking. I saw once one gentleman gave me his business card. His name, and below I am seeing first three letters, then two dot, then one comma, then another four letter. Like this, company name and all underneath is very small. So much. Some 24 letters totally accounted. I'm not joking. That much is called. But if I tell him that you are actually spending your life like a donkey, would he be angry or not? Why do we say that it's, donkey is, this is not my example. This is donkey is an example from the Puranas. Prabhupada uses this donkey example in so many places. He says, donkey is tied up by the owner and he is making him carry all that weight throughout the day. In the evening, he will give him little grass. If the donkey had any intelligence, he would realize that without carrying all this weight, if he simply roams around, he'll get that same amount of grass somehow or the other. The donkey example. Is it not? So, similarly, for the human being also who does not understand that my life, the most important thing is not to be the donkey. The most important thing is to be the human being for as many hours as possible, and unavoidable donkey hours we have to. For certain hours of the day, you have no choice but to be a donkey. So that's okay. But at least the rest of the time, we can be human beings. So, why I am saying this is, Krishna is telling Arjuna that you cannot give up karma. Karma sannyasa is not good, meaning giving up work is not good, but working without attachment is good. And how to work without attachment also, Krishna, again, he will explain to Arjuna how to work without attachment. So, this is one subject matter we will find in chapter 2. Same subject matter repeated in chapter 3. Same subject matter gets repeated in chapter 5. So, from this, what we understand, this subject has got so much importance, so much relevance. Not that Krishna is stressing on the same subject in 3 chapters because he has nothing else to say. Don't think like that. Sometimes we keep on repeating the same thing because we have nothing else to say. Krishna not like that. Because it has to be, it has to be stressed so much. Kalo nastyeva gatiranyatha. No, it says, Harer nama eva kevalam. Kalo nastyeva gatiranyatha. It is not repeated thrice just to make the shloka fitting into a tune. No. Because it has to be stressed so many times. Because it is of so much importance. Similarly, repeatedly, Krishna speaks about Nishkama Karma Yoga because that is what is required. So, then Krishna continues to speak about the platform of knowledge which helps you to perform Nishkama Karma. And he speaks about the doers. He speaks about the doers. One doer, the living entity. Are you doing? You're doing. Right? Are we doing? All the things that we do, we are doing or not? It's a trick question. Whatever answer you give, I can say you are wrong. That's why it is a trick question. But yes, we are the doer. But ahankara will muthatma karta aham mandide, so how am I the doer? Because only by my ahankara and because I have no intelligence, I think I am doing. And Krishna says in the very next sloka, material nature is doing. So doer number 2, gunas. Correct. Now, is the material nature doing anything? Can the material nature independently do anything? Material nature is inert by nature. Matter, it is inert by nature. Can it do anything? No. This piece of stone, if you take, can it perform any action? It cannot. So who is performing? Only one person who can actually sanction everything, Paramatma. So Krishna explains to Arjuna. Why is he explaining this? So that Arjuna will understand this whole idea of Nishkama Karma Yoga and these 3 levels of doers. And why this specifically is spoken by Krishna? Because Arjuna right now thinks that I am the one killing. I will take all the responsibility. Infamy will come on me. Everybody will say Arjuna killed everybody. So Krishna is saying, you are not killing. So next level, your nature as a Kshatriya, you have to kill. Right? So you Arjuna, you are not killing. You the Kshatriya warrior, you are killing. But you the Kshatriya warrior is also not killing. I, the Supreme Lord Paramatma, unless I sanction, you cannot kill. So is Arjuna killing? Yes. Is Arjuna the Kshatriya warrior killing? Yes. And no for both. So who is killing? Krishna. Similarly, whatever activity we are doing, whether we like it or not, we will do because of our nature. That is why Krishna says that you cannot give up karma completely, because by nature, how will you give up? You cannot. It is your nature to act, no? And the nature, the material nature under which you are operating is making you act. So you are acting but not acting. Right? And actually, material nature is also not acting. Why? It cannot act without the sanction of Krishna. So ultimately, who is actor? Krishna. So then next question comes. If I am not doing anything, why am I paying for this? Why do I foot the bill? Either you tell me I will get both the good and the bad, I am fully responsible. Or you tell me I am not at all responsible. How can you tell me both? That Krishna explains through 3 things. Vikarma, karma and akarma. That is, vikarma means things that you should not do, but you do. Why? Because of your nature. Knowingly you will do. That is called vikarma. You have to suffer whatever bad results that brings, you have to suffer. Why? Because you went against the law of nature and you acted. Okay? But what made you go against the law of nature? Because we are under the modes of the material nature. This karma, which Krishna said in the 3rd chapter, is your enemy. So, impelled by lust, the living entity will perform vikarma. So, when we speak about impelled by lust, karma actually, the word karma means intense desire for anything material is called karma. Okay, so don't try to zero in on a particular understanding of karma. We are not talking about that. Anything in this world for which you have an intense desire is called karma. So it is what, especially when it is not allowed by Shastra and you do, it is vikarma. You will suffer for it. Then there is karma. Karma means that which is you are ordained by the law of nature to do. Like, very easy example, all of us are grihastas. So we have our grihastha responsibilities. That is our niyata karma. We have to do. Okay? In that, while performing that, that is as per niyata karma means as per rule only you are doing. So now you ask, as per rule I do also. If you are attached, you will suffer and enjoy. If you are detached, no suffering, no enjoyment. Understand? You understand? That is, I do my duty, like I educate my children. One very simple, easy example. With a great expectation that he will become this, that, and the other thing. If he becomes, I am very overjoyed. If he does not become, I am super disappointed. Why? Because I expected. But I don't expect. I simply educate him that it is my duty to educate him. And what he becomes is his karma. With that very clear understanding, if I am doing, then his success and failure is his success and failure. It is not mine. So it does not affect. Correct? Or I am bringing up my children thinking that in my old age, they are ones who will hold the walker for me and, they'll take care of me. Huh? The way I took care of my father and my mother, they will take care of me. Especially nowadays, we are bound to be very, very disappointed and distressed and whatnot. Not going to happen. That expectation will bring disappointment only. But you are doing your duty only. I am duty bound to look after my children. I am duty bound to maintain my family. Correct? Karma. Now, the next level thing is called akarma. Akarma is I do the same duty, but I do it as an offering to Krishna. Then I become totally safe. Then I become totally safe. So, vikarma, karma, and akarma is spoken about in this chapter 5 by Krishna. He also speaks about action and inaction and inaction and action, which is actually akarma and vikarma. One who can see action in inaction, that means akarma. One who can see inaction in action, that is vikarma. So that also Krishna speaks in this chapter, and then towards the end of the chapter 5, Krishna will give a small introduction to Ashtanga Yoga. How the same moksha can be attained through the process called Ashtanga Yoga in 2 slokas of the 5th chapter, the 2 penultimate slokas. 5th chapter is a very small chapter, has just 29 slokas. Sloka 27 and 28 is introduction to chapter 6 actually, where he introduces Ashtanga Yoga in 2 slokas, and the 29th sloka of the 5th chapter is called the, who knows? It is called the Shanti Mantra. Who knows this 29th sloka of the 5th chapter? This sloka, if you know, you will be peaceful. Bhoktaram yajñatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram subhradam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam shanti mrchati. Krishna tells Arjuna, after telling all these things, he's telling Arjuna, if you want to have shanti in this world, everybody wants shanti, The entire United Nations is trying for shanti. Both Putin and Zelensky also want shanti. They're not able to do it. We also want shanti in our daily life. Right? Who doesn't want it? Everybody wants it. and nobody has it. That's everybody wants it, right? We have it, we don't want it. Because we don't have it, we want it. So Krishna gives actually the formula for this, that is the 29th sloka of the 5th chapter. Krishna says, you understand that whatever yajna and tapasya that you are doing, I am the bhokta. So when we speak like this, no, very easy to say this. To actually to accept this, to swallow this is very, very difficult. Shri Radha Gopal Krishna Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ji ki jai. So to speak this is easy, but to accept this is very difficult. But just remember this, Krishna says, Bhokta Aram. Bhokta means enjoyer of what yajna tapasam. Whatever yajna you are performing, whatever tapas you are performing, I am the enjoyer of the result of it. You understand that? The next step, Krishna says, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Jnatva. Understand this, know this, and this what? I am your Suhrida, I am your only friend. So knowing Krishna to be my eternal friend and that he is ultimate enjoyer, whatever I am doing is for him, then automatically Krishna says you will be very peaceful. You will be very peaceful, Krishna says. So that is the peace formula. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that this is the peace formula. If everybody understands this, that Krishna is the ultimate enjoyer. And more importantly, Krishna is my friend, my well-wisher. You know? Krishna is the only person who is always wishing well for us. So anything that we come across in life, if we are able to see that as this is Krishna's hand behind this, so whatever is happening is for my good. You know. So sometimes we think that okay, I have this desire, I want this, but somehow I'm not getting it. So what sort of a Suhurdam Sarva Bhutanam Krishna is? So the answer is Krishna is the real well-wisher. So if I have a real well-wisher and say I am, I have a desire that is not good for me, for example, you know, it's like a diabetic wanting to eat something very sweet that is not good for that person. So if you are his real friend, you will tell him, no, don't. Even if you have a sweet in hand, you will say, no, I won't give you. Why? Because I actually don't want you to get in trouble. Right? Similarly, Krishna also sometimes in this world we may not get something. We should not always equate Krishna's blessings with getting whatever we want. Generally, that's what we do. You know, even devotees now, when we speak with each other, how are things going? Oh, by Krishna's mercy, things are going very well. I am telling you, by Krishna's mercy, things are not at all going well. Why? Because there is Krishna's mercy in that. Because if things are going well, I may not be so much intensely remembering Krishna. When things are not at all going well, every step I am looking towards Krishna. Okay, so what next? But when everything is going very smoothly, I forget that God exists only. Why? Because everything is going smoothly. So don't think that God is merciful as long as my material necessities are taken care of, or I am getting huge amounts of money or enjoyment or whatever it is. That is God's mercy. Many people say, oh, by I was telling you the other day, I am blessed here. I don't lack anything. Hey, useless fellow, you are living like a donkey and you say nothing is lacking in you. And you bring God's mercy into that. What sort of intelligence is that? So Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam Nyatva Mam Shanti Mantra. If you know that Krishna is my Suhridam, Krishna is always wishing well for me, then I am peaceful. Then moving on to chapter 6. Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, it is called. We won't spend too much time on that because we have very little time. And to put it very shortly, because this is a complete yoga system being discussed in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 6, Krishna discusses about the Ashtanga Yoga. He speaks about the Yoga Rudha stage, the Yoga Rukshu, and then the final stage of yoga. He explains to Arjuna that yoga, in this chapter especially, Krishna links yoga with control of the mind. You know? So we all know how this Ashtanga Yoga means. It has got 8 angas. You know, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Did I say it? Did I say it? You didn't count. See? Did I miss anything? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. 8. In case you missed, I repeated. Okay? So, the first steps in Ashtanga Yoga is Yama and Niyama. Meaning, for an Ashtanga yogi, there are things that he must do and there are things that he must not. Without that, you cannot make any progress in Ashtanga Yoga. Well, why I am saying this is because nowadays it has all become about the third step, asanas, you know, and the fourth step, pranayama. Everybody thinks that, especially in the modern so-called yoga schools, they will simply teach you. You go from the very first day, they will teach you the easiest asana, and they'll start with pranayama. Right? Anybody has attended a yoga class here? I have also attended. You do Kapalbhati? You do. Okay. You do pranayama, bastrika, everything. All asanas also they practice. Some Surya Namaskara. You can do. Sarvangasana you can do. All these asanas. Now, I'll tell you what this whole thing is all about. Okay? Asanas, I said that yama niyama, things that you must do, you must not do. That means there's a list of do's and don'ts for the Ashtanga yogis. Nowadays, nobody will teach you this because the don't do's you will not be able to don't do. I'm very serious. The do's also you will not be able to do all the do's that you must do. Okay. Then you move to asanas. Asanas are basically in Ashtanga Yoga system. Asanas are meant so that your body equation will be taken out. Why? Because you are going to the 6th step, which is 7th step, which is dhyana. You know, at that stage, you have to take this whole bodily conception out of the equation. So the body should not give you any trouble for that asana. Okay? And then pranayama. Because yoga system has to deal with all the vayus in your body. Because if the vayus are not in balance, you cannot practice dhyana. So, pranayama is practiced by the yogi so that he can control his breathing. You would have heard of all those yogis in Himalaya, who is living, is wearing the towel and it is minus 40 degree and all that. How is he able to do that? Because by controlling his breath, he can bring down his body temperature. And we will all be shallow breathing. The yoga teacher told you, your breathing is shallow, so you have to take deep breath, right? The yogi is the The very, very advanced yogis, they can do with 3 or 4 breaths in an hour and all. That much oxygen is enough for them to sustain the body. Why? Because he is completely concentrating on dhyana. I'm coming to that. But before that, after pranayama, that is practicing how much air you take inside and how much air you let outside, then the next stage is called pratyahara. Pratyahara means that is a tortoise business. That is pulling all the senses inward. Currently, all the senses are all the time outward only. The only time senses are given some rest is when we go into deep sleep. That time also, the sixth sense called mind is working. But yogi in Ashtanga Yoga should practice pratyahara by completely turning the senses inward. Okay? Then only you will come to the stage of dharana. That means to hold your concentration. That stage. At that stage, you will have to enter dhyana. Depending on what type of yogi you are, you will either meditate on the impersonal Brahman, or if you're the advanced yogi, you will meditate on Paramatma who is within the heart. And by perfecting of that dhyana, you will reach the samadhi stage. That samadhi stage is what makes you again eligible for liberation. Samadhi. That means you have brought everything to an equilibrium. There is no adi. You understand? It is a desireless. It is a stage where you have no desire. It is a stage where you have no lamentation. It is a stage where you have no fear. All those things will come. So in all this, Krishna tells Arjuna in the beginning of this chapter, one must use one's mind to liberate oneself. That is key in this entire Ashtanga Yoga process. You understand? At that Pratyahara stage, your mind should be completely under your control. Correct? And Krishna tells Arjuna, just like a lamp, that will not flutter when there is no wind. Hold your mind like that, Arjuna is telling. Your lamp, it keeps fluttering. See, when would that lamp not be fluttering at all? If there is absolutely no movement of air, it will not flutter. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that your mind should be like that. It should not flutter at all. Even as we speak, our mind is fluttering or not. I am speaking Bhagavad Gita, you are hearing Bhagavad Gita. What else is there in your mind? Just start counting. Already infinity. This is mind. So don't worry, it is not only our mind. Arjuna tells Krishna that Krishna, this is not practical. Arjuna in fact tells Krishna, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramado balavadridam. He says his mind is pramada, that means his mind is mad. Balavad, his mind is very strong, obstinate. Dridam, it will not listen to me here. I am not saying this. Arjuna is telling Krishna. And then he goes on to tell Krishna, if you ask me to control the air within a room, I can do that with my astras. He says, if you ask me to stop the movement of air, I have a mantra, I have an astra, I can stop the air from moving. But you tell me to stop my mind from moving, that's not possible. So actually, Arjuna very clearly refutes this instruction from Krishna in this chapter 6. Saying that this type of thing is not possible for him. So now you think, okay, so there is some other easy way out of this. So he tells Krishna, so what should I do? So Krishna says, of course, it is very difficult to control the mind. But abhyasa yogena tatho. It tells Arjuna, you have to do abhyas, you have to practice. So you have to practice controlling the mind, whatever type of yoga we're doing. So this Ashtanga Yoga business completely out of question for us, especially in Kali Yuga, because you will never go beyond Pratyahara. You won't finish Pratyahara in one lifetime. Take it for granted. Okay. Rest is complete humbug. Somebody tells you. Okay. I'm not saying this, Prabhupada is saying this. So, Prabhupada will always say all their meditation is simply half sleeping. You know, you go to any yoga hall and they ask people to meditate after 5 minutes, you will all hear karate. You know, you hear people deep breathing. I'm taking, take a deep breath. 11th deep breath, I am already in La La Land. I'm sleeping. I'll be dreaming also. I'll be dreaming that I am meditating. In my dream, I'll be meditating. I'm not joking. Because mind will take you there and say, mind will tell you, actually, you are meditating now. But reality is, you are sleeping, and the dream, you are thinking you are meditating. And then you may think, why the yoga master did not find out? He is also the same condition, no? Because he is sitting in front of you, he is also sitting like this, he is also eyes are closed, half like this. He has become expert in sleeping with half eye closed. Understand? So this is not a process. Because why I'm saying this, I'm not running down the yoga system. I'm just saying that because the yoga system takes hundreds and hundreds of years of practice to become. All these things are possible provided we had 1,000 years or 10,000 years of Ayu, then we can practice this and become perfect. But in our present situation where we do, 3 days a week, 1 hour is yoga, you cannot become perfect. That is the whole point. This Ashtanga Yoga is actually a full-time 24/7 business. If you are able to do that, and then for 10,000 years, it's okay. We can get it done. But because we don't have that kind of a situation, and here Arjuna, now Arjuna, why is he refusing that? Because not yet picked up the Gandiva. Yesterday he has put it down again. Till now he has not picked it up. Just remember. So he see, I am to fight a war. In between, this man is telling me fight war, fight war. And now he is telling me, hold the breath, do this, do that. Doing all these things, how do you expect me to shoot all the arrows? Either I do this or I do the other thing. Not practical. So for us also, we have a grihastha to run, we have a grihastha ashrama to run. And we have to run around so much for it. Where is the time for all these things? Right? To become perfect by doing this, Arjuna says, not possible. So then Krishna says, you practice. Practice controlling the mind and do your activities. And then he speaks about a yogi being better than a tapasvi, who is better than a jnani. So he says that yogi means one who is connecting to me is always good. And among such people who are yogis, Krishna concludes chapter 6 by saying who is the topmost yogi. The 47th shloka of the 6th chapter, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. Krishna says, my opinion, yuktatamo mata. Who is yuktatama? Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana. Now we are finishing the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is the karma part. Bhagavad Gita is split into 3 generally. The first 6 chapters is all about karma. The next 6 chapter is going to be the most confidential, and the last 6 chapters is knowledge. Okay, so there is karma in the first 6 chapters, bhakti in the next 6 chapters, then Jnana in the next 6 chapters. This is how Bhagavad Gita. The first section gets concluded with this particular sloka, Yoginam Api Sarvesham. Krishna is actually giving a preview of what is to come in the 7th chapter. This is the sloka where Krishna now speaks about directly Yoginam Api Sarvesham Mad Gadena. He speaks about Mad. Me. Krishna says, somebody who is linked with me, Madgatena Antaratmana, thinks of me within himself and renders loving transcendental service. Shraddhavan bhajate. If you study Bhagavad Gita from the beginning, you will find that the word bhajate comes here. So now he is going to speak about the bhaja, is bhajana. From 7th to 12th chapter, Krishna will now speak about this bhajate. That is what the middle section of Bhagavad Gita is about. So this is how the link we are able to understand. So he says, who is topmost? One who is doing bhajana to me. So what is the best yoga? From this, what do we understand to be the best yoga? To do bhajan for Krishna. Madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan, with shraddha means with faith. Bhajate, worship me. Bhaja means worship, to offer transcendental loving service to Krishna is bhaja. Prabhupada speaks about very eloquently about this word bhaja. Prabhupada says, due to lack of an adequate word in English, we use the word worship. This is what Prabhupada says. Because bhaja actually has a much wider meaning than simply worship. So Prabhupada translates in the translation of the verse, renders transcendental loving service to me. That is how he is translating the word bhajate yomam. So somebody who is holding me in his heart, so that yogi. So ultimately the process of yoga, where it should bring us, where we hold Krishna in our heart. Actually Krishna is there in our heart. In everybody's heart he is there as Paramatma. But for me to knowingly hold him in my heart, that is the process of yoga. Actually see how easy it is. He is already sitting there. He's simply telling you, I am sitting here, look at me, I am sitting here, I am sitting here, I am sitting here, I am sitting here, look at me, look at me, look at me. This is the process of Bhagavad Gita. Once we understand this, then we can actually become that topmost yogi by rendering service to Krishna. So we'll stop here. Bhagavad Gita Granth Raj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much for your participation. Hare Krishna.